There comes a profound moment where you realize life isn't letting things slide anymore. Small choices seem to matter more. Delays have consequences faster. Avoidance shows up louder. Things that you used to get away with, postponing a conversation, cutting corners, numbing out, they now come back around more quickly. Not dramatically, but precisely. And it leaves you wondering why everything suddenly feels so much heavier. You feel it in your body first. You say you'll handle something tomorrow, and you can't rest. You ignore a truth, and tension builds up inside immediately. You compromise once when you know you shouldn't, and your mood drops for days. Nothing catastrophic happens, but nothing is neutral anymore. It's as if life is responding to you in real time. That's not bad luck. That's a shift in positioning. When this phase comes around, most men misread it. They think, I'm being punished. Something is wrong with me. Why does everything feel harder now? So they look for some kind of relief. They try to reframe things. They intellectualize. They blame stress or burnout. But none of that works for long, because this phase isn't psychological. It's structural. What you're encountering is simple. Your actions are starting to carry weight. Not because you're special, not because you are chosen, but because you've crossed a certain threshold where life stops compensating for your avoidance. From here on, what you do, and also what you don't do, shapes you so much faster. That's the law most men never consciously meet. If you don't recognize this, something predictable happens. You keep delaying small things. They pile up. You keep avoiding truth. The to-do list grows. Anxiety grows. You keep bending your own boundaries. Resentment sets in, and years can pass this way. Everything is ticking along, nothing explodes, but nothing builds either. This is how men lose decades without one clear catastrophic failure. This isn't the cruelty of life, and this isn't morality. It also isn't judgment. It's feedback. It's life responding to how you're organized. What you tolerate becomes structure. What you repeat becomes your identity. This phase isn't asking you to feel bad. It's asking you to pay attention, to become sovereign, to become accountable. There is only one move that changes how this plays out. Responsibility taken early. Not perfection, not motivation, not more insight. Sovereign ownership. The moment you stop saying, this is happening to me because of this, and start saying, this is now mine to carry. The pressure changes quality. It stops crushing. it starts clarifying. This often shows up in small, unglamorous ways. You handle things when you say you will. You speak sooner instead of speaking later. You stop numbing when discomfort appears. You keep promises no one sees. Nothing flashy changes, but internally, something rebalances and stabilizes. Life then begins responding differently, not because you're trying harder, but because you're no longer avoiding all of the things which are in the way of becoming who you are. If you don't step into this phase, the cost keeps rising. Not as punishment, but as accumulation. What you delay today becomes heavier tomorrow. And eventually, men call that fate. But it isn't. It's consequence catching up to behavior. In ancient Buddhist tradition, they call this karma. Everything we do, every way we act, bears a fruit which we have to taste. There is no running from that. Once you see this, once you know this, you cannot unsee it or unknow it. From here on, every choice trains you in a direction towards solidity and groundedness, or erosion and collapse. The next phase isn't about control. It's about deciding where you will no longer compromise. Because now you know exactly what it costs and how deep a compromise affects one's spiritual depth and truth. So that is what comes next. And let's continue with this practice.